What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a deep dive into one of the most fascinating corporate glow-ups in history. Most of you know this brand for the PlayStation 5, the movie Spider-Man, or maybe those industry standard noise-canceling headphones. But did you know that in 1946, Sony, then known as Tokyo Tsushin Kogyo, started in a bombed-out department store making rice cookers? Yeah, and it was a total disaster. The rice was always undercooked or burnt. But the failure kicked off a diversification journey that changed the global tech entertainment landscape forever. For today's Viewpoint video, we're breaking down Sony's corporate strategy. We'll trace their history, classify their current diversification model using our core concepts, and I'll give you my take on where they are headed next. Alright, let's get into it. To understand Sony today, we have to look at where they started. Their original core business was consumer electronics. They were the masters of miniaturization in the 50s. They gave us the pocket transistor radio, the 70s, the Walkman. They owned the box, the hardware. But the 1980s brought a massive strategic shift. Sony realized that owning the hardware wasn't enough if they didn't own the content that played on it. This led to a period of aggressive related diversification. In 1988, they made a massive move by acquiring CBS Records, now Sony Music. Then, in 1989, they dropped $3.4 billion to buy Columbia Pictures. This wasn't just buying companies, it was a strategic motivation to achieve vertical integration. They wanted to control the entire value chain, from the device in your hand to the movie on the screen. Then came 1994, the PlayStation. This was the ultimate internal development. It combined their hardware expertise with their new entertainment DNA. Sony wasn't just a tech company anymore. They were a creative entertainment company. So, how do we classify Sony's strategy today? If we look at the figure 6.1 from our textbook, Sony is a textbook example of related linked diversification. While financial services, music, and semiconductors might sound unrelated, they are actually linked by shared resources and core competencies. This is how Sony creates value through economies of scope. Think about the one Sony philosophy. When Sony Pictures produces a hit like Uncharted, that intellectual property, or as most people know it, IP, is immediately shared with the PlayStation division to create a game. The soundtrack is handled by Sony Music. This is what's called operational relatedness at its finest. They aren't just running separate businesses. They are sharing activities and transferring core competencies across the entire portfolio. Another huge factor, their semiconductor business. Sony is the world leader in image sensors. Every time you take a photo with a high-end smartphone, even an iPhone, you're likely using Sony technology. This internal capability supports their camera division, their mobile division, and their gaming hardware, creating a massive competitive advantage that a standalone movie studio or toy company or video game company even could not match. They cannot match it. And so now for the big question, is this strategy actually effective, or are they spread too thin? In my opinion, Sony's current portfolio is stronger than it's ever been in decades. By refocusing on IP and content, They've moved away from being a commodity hardware seller to a must-have entertainment provider. When you look at it, everyone has a PlayStation. And especially with the recent craziness the Xbox have been doing, most people are moving towards PC or Sony PlayStation games. Now, however, there are definitely inefficiencies. For years, Sony's mobile and mobile communication divisions have been dogs in the BCG matrix, consistently losing money while trying to compete with Apple. While they started to turn this around by focusing on professional grade niche phones, they believe they could benefit from even further restructuring. My recommendation: Sony should pivot even harder into the metaverse and VR. They have the perfect trifecta: the VR hardware, which they have the PlayStation VR 2, the gaming ecosystem, the PlayStation Network, and the world-class movie and music libraries to populate those digital worlds. They shouldn't just be diversified, they should be converged. If they can bridge the gap between the silos more effectively, they'll be unstoppable. And guys, I just want to end on there. Thank you for watching the video. Peace.